Hey everybody, I just wanted to go through how to solve an equation where you have to combine your like terms. So first of all, I know that I don't have to distribute because I don't have any parentheses, but I do have to combine like terms with my boxing and circling and t-chart because I have more than one x term and I have more than one constant. So I'm going to go ahead and start boxing and circling. Remember to box your x terms and include that sign with the term. So there's a negative 3x. Here's a positive 8x. My constant 5, positive, I'm going to circle, and then here's a negative 7. So off to the side, I will do my t-chart. So my x terms I will put in the x column. Remember to bring your sign and the x down with the term. For my constants, those will go in my number column. And again, bring your sign down with the term. So negative 3 plus 8 gives me 5, so that's going to be 5x. Bring the x down with the 5. 5 minus 7 gives me a negative 2. So I just took this more complicated expression and I turned it into a much simpler expression. So now we can solve the equation. So 5x minus 2, I'll bring back up here, equals, and then negative 32. So now I have a two-step equation to solve. So the first thing I do with a two-step equation is go after the constant. Well, it's a negative 2, so we're going to add 2 because we're moving it to the other side. And by the way, if you like to put the line in to represent your equal sign, that's fine too. So when I add the 2, the negative 2 and the positive 2, they just turn into 0. So in other words, I just have 5x equals negative 32 plus 2 gives me negative 30. And now my last step, divide by the coefficient. So divide by the 5, but whatever I do to one side, remember I have to do to the other. So my 5's divide out, I have just x equals, and then negative 30 divided by 5 gives me negative 6. So there's my answer. So now I just have to check it. So now I'm going to do the check just below the problem, but if you have room, you can of course do it right next to the problem like we usually do. So the first thing is to write the word check, write the original equation, and then I'm going to put my answer in everywhere I see an x. So there's my original equation. Our answer was negative 6, so instead of negative 3 times x, we need negative 3 times our answer, negative 6. Plus 5 plus 8 times, instead of x, negative 6. Minus 7 equals negative 32. So now we're just going to use PEMDAS and make sure that on the left side we also get negative 32. So PEMDAS tells me to multiply before I do any adding or subtracting. So here's a multiplication piece and there's another multiplication piece. So negative 3 times negative 6 gives me positive 18 plus 5. I'm just going to kind of bring that down. Positive 8 times a negative 6 is actually negative 48. And then bring down your minus 7 equals negative 32. Now, PEMDAS tells me to add and subtract, very last step, but I have to go left to right. So working left to right, there's my first piece. 18 plus 5 gives me 23. Okay, and again, working left to right. 23 minus 48 gives me a negative 25. And then minus 7 equals negative 32. Last step, subtract here. We've got negative 25 minus 7, which gives me my negative 32 that I was after. And so it checks.